This episode is brought to you by QT Designs. Make sure you check out the website here to get the latest Chitty's World Chit Chat Wrestling merchandise, including brand new t-shirts, hats, koozies, stickers, and more. Once again, that was qtdesigns.com. Welcome on in. Yes, you heard it correct, guys. I have my own official merch. You guys might have been seeing me wearing it here and there, but now you can have it too. Again, visit QT Designs. I'll put a link down below in the description where you can pick out and get Chitty's World t-shirts, Chit Chat Wrestling t-shirts coming soon, Chit Chat Gaming as well too, hats, etc. Guys, so make sure you guys check that out. Now, this week on the show, I want to go ahead and talk about NXT and TNA. Now, I've been a big NXT fan since Black and Gold, since the very beginning here. Even when it switched over to, the 2.0, I was always a huge fan of that as well too. It was very hard to get through sometimes, especially towards very beginning here. I was a little worried. I was a little worried about how the content was going to be, how it's going to go from being the indie wrestling style, with the former indie wrestlers and ROH guys, etc., and women. And now it's going to be all like performance center people as well too. But it's changed a lot since then, because now we're starting to see a lot more, not just performance center who are been fantastic wrestlers anyways, but we're also seeing a lot more like guys from AEW and girls from other companies and so forth, New Japan, like with Julia potentially coming in as well too. And again, big things are starting to happen, and this past week was one of those. We're officially starting to see, which I never thought I would ever see, and that is the TNA and NXT, kind of like a partnership going on now. I've been watching TNA since the very beginning as well too. I remember watching TNA back in the day. When you had to pay for it on pay-per-view. I believe it was like $10, I think, a week on pay-per-view. And I used to rent it here and there. This is back in 2002, 2003. Then, of course, later on, it became, Impact was available on cable and such as well, too. I believe it was on Spike TV and such. And I was absolute, just like I said, just a huge fan of TNA. And it's really weird because back in the day, they had the whole little skit, the whole little segment thing where TNA had the balloons and the cake. I can't remember what it was called, but Abyss, got delivered balloons to a bunch of the wrestlers at one of the shows. Anyways, it was a big thing about it, and it was a rivalry between TNA and the WWE at the time as well. Two people were jumping ship, from WWE going to TNA. We didn't really see it happen vice versa too a whole lot, but we did see some guys from WWE, guys like Christian Cage, Kurt Angle, who left, by choice, the Dudley Boys. Left by choice to go to TNA. But we now have something again here. I never thought in a million years I'd see it, to be honest with you. But we kind of saw it. We kind of got a little bit of a tease with Mickie James at the Royal Rumble a couple years ago here, when she showed up with the TNA Knockouts title. And that's really the last thing we saw of it. We saw that happen, and then that was it. Nothing else ever came out of that. But now with those whole Triple H era, and with Shawn Michaels running NXT and so forth, the sky is definitely the limit, and we literally saw that last week on NXT when Jordynne Grace came out and challenged. We talked about that before on the channel here as well too. Jordynne Grace came out and challenged Roxanne Perez for her NXT Women's Championship at Battleground this coming Sunday. But what I want to talk about though is where does this going? What is this going to be? What is going to? What does each company? What's the finish line for this? Right? What are they trying to get out of this? And we've also saw Ethan Page as well to show up, who used to be in TNA but came from AEW. Big things, guys. Absolutely big things going on in NXT. This past Tuesday night, we saw Ethan Page sign the contract. Him and Trick Williams had a face-off. We're going to see Ethan Page versus Trick Williams at Battleground this weekend as well too. Again, though, just huge things going on. And by the way, huge things, numbers, but ratings. NXT's rating this past Tuesday night was 768,000, around there, which is up tremendously from what they've been at. NXT's always kind of flirted in the 600 range, sometimes even lower than that, and they've gotten up there a few times, of course. But that's with main roster stars. This had no main roster. Well, it had main roster stars on it, people like Natalya and such, but it was more geared for the interest of people wanting to see what's going to happen with this NXT and TNA partnership, plus with Ethan Page being on there as well too. Now, with that being said, though, again, I want to just kind of discuss the partnership aspect of things here, because and speaking of the numbers, really quick here, AEW, I believe, had 868,000. So I mean, it might not have been that much, But again, though, NXT is kind of creeping back up there, and that's without, you know, the main roster as being the main, you know, the main part of the show. But again, though, we're going to talk about the NXT and TNA partnership because me personally, I feel like there's more to this than what meets the eye. I really feel like that we are going to, I mean, because you got to stop thinking, you know, it's WWE's like, you know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. We haven't really seen a whole lot of, you know, TNA get anything out of this other than exposure, which is absolutely huge. I mean, their Knockouts Championship is being, you know, is on NXT television. Their NXT, NXT, their TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace is appearing as well too. The name's getting out there. Mike Roma announced it as the TNA Knockouts champion. Again, we're hearing the TNA name on WWE TV, which is something we never thought we'd see. Jordan Grace coming out with the NXT, you know, the NXT TNA on the back of her on her wrestling singlet on her gear, and it's like I said, it's something I never thought I'd really see. But again, you gotta stop and think, what is WWE gonna get out of this? Well, this past Tuesday, they definitely did tease it with, you know, Tatum Paxley backstage saying that you know the TNA Knockouts Championship means something to her as well too. And Jordan said that this means everything to me. As she was walking away, Tatum was like, you know, it means something to me too. So right there is just a teaser. Could we see Tatum Paxley, you know, show up in TNA? Because apparently Jordan Grace can have an open challenge at Against All Odds here, or Against Odds here in a few weeks. I think it is. I think it's towards the end of the month. And at Against All Odds, could we see Tatum Paxley show up? It's definitely a possibility. Could we see him show up on tapings? It's definitely a possibility. Could we see more TNA talent show up at Battlegrounds? It's a possibility as well too. But I want to talk really quick about what I think WWE is getting out of this. Now, this is going to be a couple things here. One, this could be just a way for WWE to kind of be buttering the fans up with Jordan Grace. WWE has obviously had their eyes on Jordan Grace. I mean, she fits the mold for WWE. She's a great talent. She's in great shape. She wrestles awesome. She's a great wrestler as well too, but she definitely looks the WWE part. And I think that, you know, when she was in the Royal Rumble, she had to turn heads prior to that because obviously Triple H noticed and brought her in. Then, of course, after that, Shawn Michaels has brought her in as well too because he wanted to bring her in. And again, though, are they buttering up? You know, the crowd, they want to give her some exposure. You know, there's a very good possibility that they're just giving her some exposure. So that way, when she does officially debut, because I have a really, really big feeling that after her run with TNA is over with, that there's a good possibility that she may sign with WWE. And again, a very big possibility. Well, this way the fans will know who she is when she comes through. And again, though, it's just a way to kind of get her some exposure to the crowd, to the fans, and to the television fans as well, to the audience. Again, that's just my first opinion here on what could be happening. And again, though, it might just be a partnership, right? But again, though, there's got to be something that comes out of this for WWE. And the other end of the table here, I've heard some rumblings that there's a good potential possibility here anyways that you know, WWE, not so much WWE, more Endeavor, TKO, but Endeavor, maybe possibly looking at picking up TNA wrestling. It's no secret that TNA has kind of been back and forth with different buyers and such owners over the years. Of course, they recently let go of Scott Moore. And, you know, again, it's a very, very good possibility from what we've heard anyways that, you know, there's that WWE, maybe our Endeavor, I shouldn't say WWE, but Endeavor, who was a parent company, the parent owner of WWE with TKO, maybe looking to potentially purchase TNA. And in this case, it's a good way to kind of get their wrestlers out there, the name out there, get some exposure to what TNA is to their fan base who may not know what it is. But not only that, just think about it. WWE could potentially own the TNA branding and the video library as well too. Just think about that. There's so many WWE talent or TNA talent that's come through, you know, WWE, and most recently, you know, we've been hearing a lot about AJ Styles. Would it be awesome to have, you know, TNA on Peacock, you know, old episodes and so forth, and then of course they could show footage, all they wanted as well too, of all the, you know, Robert Roode. There's just so many talented people in WWE that, you know, came from TNA. I know lots went over to AEW because Joe was another one as well too, but he was also in WWE and NXT as well too. So again, just kind of my thoughts anyways of what could be possibly happening, because like I said, there's got to be something going on here with, I scratch your back, you scratch my back, because it's not just going to be a one-way street with WWE. This is not like the AEW TNA little partnership they had as well too. It's nothing like that. This is bigger than that, in my personal opinion. I think this is going to be absolutely huge. I mean, we hardly saw the TNA champions or TNA on AEW at all. We did see a lot of AEW talent, including Kenny Omega, come over to Impact Wrestling and such as well too. We didn't really see a whole lot of the AEW or TNA guys on AEW. Just wasn't really that big of a thing. Plus, this is back when it was Impact, I believe. It wasn't even TNA yet. But again, going back to the very, very beginning here of TNA back in the early years, I never thought I'd ever see this. Like I said, seeing the whole entire, the Abyss and the guy showing up with the balloons. Apparently, something happened, whether it was they gave him to like Rey Mysterio on camera and so forth. I can't remember what they called it. There was a special name for it. I can't remember what it was, but I remember marking out for it because I was a huge TNA fan at the time. I got a chance to meet and even like work on some shows that, Abyss, Samoa Joe, and so many others. And I saw AJ Styles against Tyler Black, Seth Rollins for the first time ever as well too. Again, huge TNA fan, and I'm absolutely excited to see where this goes. But there has to be some kind of a partnership in between the two. So that's kind of my thoughts on this, guys. Let me know down below what you think. If you think that there's a partnership going on, or there's something going on here, or what exactly is the outcome of all this? What is the finish for all this? Where is this leading to? And are you excited for the NXT TNA little crossover they have going on? I'm excited for Battleground. I think Battleground this weekend looks absolutely phenomenal. It's come from the UFC Apex Arena as well too. That's gonna be very, very interesting. But I really excited to see what they're gonna do with Jordynne Grace and Roxanne Perez. Is Jordynne Grace gonna walk out the NXT champion? Is Roxanne going to defeat her? Could we see Tatum Paxley get involved, and then that leads to somebody else from TNA? Coming out and getting involved as well too. I mean, it's like I said, the sky's the limit. It's hard telling where it's going to go. Could we see Joe Hendry? Brooks Jensen recently did a video here, and he had Joe Hendry in the background and such. And could we see other TNA talent? The Rascals have definitely plugged and have pushed out there that they want to come to NXT, which of course Zachary Wentz is already there at one time as Nash Carter, but could we see them come through? This past week on NXT, we saw Wesley get beat up by Gallus. That's 3-on-1 for the most part there. So obviously Wesley needs 2 more people, and I can't think of any way better than Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel to come through the NXT doors, and we have a Rascals versus Gallus match. Again, sky is the limit, guys. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see what happens. And like I mentioned, let me know down below what you think of all this. And also, really quick here, I am giving away 1 t-shirt, guys. I'm giving away 2 t-shirts. I'm giving away 1 here on YouTube. All you gotta do is just like this video and comment down below who your favorite TNA wrestler is or was of all time, and I will pick somebody at random, and you will get a Chit Chat Wrestling t-shirt mailed to you, free of shipping as well too. And my other one I've been giving out here is going to be over on my social media, so make sure you guys check me out at Chit Chat Gaming or at Chitty's World on Twitter here as well to be able to go qualify for that one. So again, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to think here. Make sure you guys like this video if you choose to. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn on that bell notification to get all things here on Chitty's World and Chit Chat Wrestling. And as always, guys, we'll see you on the next one.